time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. I'm not holding it in anymore. I'm gonna shout it out now. I understand what I'm here for, and what this life is about. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand. About lending a hand, no. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Yay! Good morning, and happy Father's Day. And we are so blessed to have these wonderful musicians with us. Michael is not here today, and he's put Sue Crosman in his place, and what a wonderful substitute for Michael she is. We're very lucky to have her, and also our soloist, Kristina, who was here at Easter. So let's give a big round of applause to both of them for blessing us today during our service. And today and every day, we have swung wide the doors to the presence of God, knowing that Spirit is in this place and in all places and all people. Just as this beautiful summer sun has awakened us to a new day, the Spirit of God within awakens us to divine glory. And its glory within and all around us is everywhere we look and in every situation we encounter. With our hearts centered in Spirit, we can quiet our thoughts and meditate on the wonder of all of God's creation and our oneness with it. So take a deep breath. Become comfortable. And gently release any cares of the day, because your sole purpose at this moment is to experience the divine, and you begin to do so now as you relax into this sacred time and space at Unity Spiritual Center. Seeing through eyes of oneness, acknowledging our oneness, we at Unity Spiritual Center celebrate and honor people of every culture, of every creed, of every religion, of every race, of every age, and every lifestyle, knowing that there are many paths to God, many faces of God, many names for God, but only one God. And that God is expressing through all people in unique, special, and individual ways. I'm going to place a candle in our holder. This is something that actually needs to be done every Sunday. So I just want to show you how easy it is. And if there's someone in the congregation who would like to take this on as a ministry, the candle ministry, I would sure appreciate your participation. So I'm going to model for you what this looks like. I think you'll agree it's an important part of our service. And we light that candle every Sunday so that you can look at the flame of that candle and remember that you yourself have a divine flame within, that you yourself are an individualized expression of the divine. We honor the one presence and power of God with Unity's foundation statement, which you'll find on the screen behind me, and I invite you to join me in saying it aloud together. There is only one presence and one power, active as the universe and as my life, God the good, omnipotent. We give thanks for our spiritual community and for the beauty of our spiritual center. We give thanks that Unity Spiritual Center is a welcoming, warm, and inclusive community dedicated to studying and putting into practice empowering principles and tools for happiness, health, prosperity, and successful living. We give thanks that with our spiritual teachings, we can create extraordinary lives and a peaceful planet through our relationship with the loving God presence within each of us and through our relationships with one another. Our vision and the opportunity for each one of us here is that you discover the power within you to create the life of your dreams, that you have peace of mind and deep happiness, that you enjoy joyous and loving relationships with yourself, with spirit, and with others, that you spend your days doing what you love and feel called to do, and most of all, that you know that your life matters, that you make a difference, and that the world is a better place because you're here. If you're visiting us for the first time, and I don't believe anyone is visiting us for the first time, but as you know, we do like to give out gifts, which include a shell lei that has a tag on it that says, just as God has a design for every shell in the sea, God also has a design for your life. A wonderful affirmation for all of us to hear every week. And we also give out a packet of information about Unity in general and Unity Spiritual Center in particular. It's got my contact information in that packet, as does the back of the newsletter. So if at any time you'd like to have a conversation about Unity, Unity Principles, Unity Spiritual Center, please know that I'm always open and excited about those kinds of conversations, and all you need to do is give me a call or email me. So at this time, as we move into the more meditative portion of our service and prepare to raise our voices together in song, I'll ask that you turn off your cell phones if you haven't done that already, and any other electronic devices. Thank you, and I think stand up for this one, right? It's a nice one. Let's stand.
Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Healing, this healing, this healing day. this healing, this healing, this healing day, this healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day.
Now, as we continue to get comfortable in our seats, relaxing even more deeply into this time of worship, prayer, and meditation, let us open our hearts to receive the message of today's daily word. Is there anyone who would like to read today's daily word? The subject is Father's Blessing, and the affirmation is God bless all fathers and fathers to be. Who would like to read the daily word? Kathy, thank you so much.
God bless all fathers and fathers-to-be. A beloved and often repeated prayer by individuals and in groups begins, Our Father. There is both great responsibility and reward in playing the role of father. Encouraging confidence in young ones calls for a parent to be present in all stages of child's lives. Often, it's not until after years of being present, sometimes when kids think they are smarter than adults, that fathers are appreciated for their wisdom and devotion. A prayer is a powerful way to bless fathers. God, bless fathers with all they need to be wise and loving parents. And perhaps a prayer is even more immediate when a father or father-to-be prays, God, guide me in being a father that enriches the lives of my children. And the quote for today is from Chronicles. I will be a father to him, and he shall be a son to me. I will not take my steadfast love from him, as I took it from him who was before you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Unity Spiritual Center is a center of prayer and healing. Behind you all on the back table is our communal prayer box. So let's just take a moment now to hold the requests that are in that box in your hearts. And let's know that perfect divine love is unfolding each person represented in that prayer box, and that divine order is taking place for all concerned. The prayer requests that are placed in that box are prayed on by me and our USC prayer team for 30 days, and then we forward them to Silent Unity at Unity's World Headquarters, where they're prayed on for an additional 30 days. You'll see the green prayer request forms that are next to the box, and you are always invited to fill one out and place it inside. But we have also created a time in our service where you can make your prayers audible. This is the time to offer your prayer needs to your spiritual family here so that we can support you and stand with you. So after Sue plays the music to the introduction of this song, you're invited to speak your prayer aloud, and we will answer each prayer request by singing Your Prayer is My Prayer Too.
We are connected by the heart. Where do you end? Where do I start? Whatever you feel, I'm a part of you. Your prayer is my prayer too. 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 Your prayer is my prayer too.
We give thanks for this opportunity to bless and be blessed in spirit. We give thanks for the feelings of connection, of peace and warmth that fill our hearts and minds right now. We give thanks for the privilege of praying for others in our community, both the spoken prayers and the unspoken prayers. For the privilege of praying for others in our nation and around the globe. And we affirm that always and in all ways, divine love and divine order is everywhere present at Unity Spiritual Center. Your prayer is our prayer too. Amen.
I kept my eyes open and tried to see the point of what went on in front of me. I kept what moved me, forgot about the rest, put my young imagination right to the test. And it was easy then to say what love could do. It's so easy when your world is new. It's been so hard sometimes to find my way. I let my pleasures lead my little world astray. And if I'm truthful, I'll say that I was blind to everything about this life. But what I had in mind, it was easy then to say where love could go. It's so easy when there's so much that you don't know about my imagination that got me through somehow. Without my imagination, I wouldn't be here now. Kept my eyes open and tried to see this life in terms of possibility. With so much changing and changing for the worse, you got to keep your head up, baby, from the cradle to the hearse. And it was easy then to say where love could go. It's so easy when love is all you know about my imagination. It got me through somehow. Without my imagination, I wouldn't be here now. About my imagination, it got me through somehow. Without my imagination, I wouldn't. Kept my eyes open and tried to see this life in terms of possibility. I kept what moved me, forgot about the rest, and took my young imagination right to the test. And it was easy then to say where love could go. So easy when love is all you know. Love is all you know about my imagination. I'm getting ready for the celebration, bringing my imagination, taking charge of the elevation. No fear, no trepidation, register my affirmation. No doubt, no hesitation, our people get ready for the embarkation. About my imagination, I'm calling out across the nation. It's time for a rededication, not just talking about my generation. I'm sending out this invocation, I keep getting these excitations. More light, more love, more truth. Come on, I hear you now. More light, more love, more truth. Now you sing it with me. Here we go. We're slow down. More light, more truth. You got all three. Okay, let's do the more light, more love, more truth. Let's do that 2 more times. More light, more love, more truth. Ooh, yeah. More light, more love, more truth with our imagination.
Thank you so much, Sue and Anna. That was wonderful. Yeah, we can clap again, right? And that is so perfect for what we're talking about today. So let's remember those words. But first, we have something to celebrate today, don't we? And that is Father's Day. We're celebrating the fathers and the father figures in our lives. And if you've been coming here for a while, you know that on Mother's Day, I usually read a poem that kind of encompasses the kinds of motherhood experiences that we may have had, and I don't want to leave the dads out. So let's just launch with a poem for them. And this poem was written by someone who is unknown, author unknown, and it's a beautiful one. God took the strength of a mountain, the majesty of a tree, the warmth of a summer sun, the calm of a quiet sea, the generous soul of nature, the comforting arm of night, the wisdom of the ages, the power of the eagle's flight, the joy of a morning in spring, the faith of a mustard seed, the patience of eternity, the depth of a family need. Then God combined these qualities, and when there was nothing more to add, he knew his masterpiece was complete, and so he called it Dad. Yeah. So that's a very nice list of qualities, isn't it? And just like with celebrating Mother's Day, maybe we didn't personally celebrate. I mean, maybe we didn't personally experience all those qualities. It's a pretty tall order, actually. And I just want to say that if, like Mother's Day, Father's Day can sometimes be a mixed bag of emotions because maybe you had a different kind of experience with the person who you called your father, then this is an opportunity to think about father figures. Maybe there was another man in your life who was a mentor, a spiritual leader, a teacher, someone who saw that wonderful potential in you and really acknowledged it and helped you to feel seen. And of course, just like with motherhood as well, it's not only a male energy, it's something that we all have within us as something to bring forward. So let's just take this moment to celebrate the people in our lives who have demonstrated that kind of father love to us, whether it was our actual father, someone else, but for all of you who are in the audience right now who have played that role for others, let's give you a big round of applause. And for all of those people who may not be in this room, but who have played that role in our lives, let's give them a round of applause too. And it was really interesting to me that Father's Day fell on this day when I would normally be talking about the power that we're looking at today at work in our communities and our world. It's really a perfect time. because the power we're looking at is imagination. So I think all of you would probably agree with me that the power of imagination is something that we desperately need in our communities and our world. And so on Father's Day, isn't that interesting that we're looking at those kinds of qualities, the ones that I just read out, like warmth and calm, generosity, wisdom, faith, depth. Aren't those things that we need to see in our world today? Yeah. And I just want to, actually maybe I don't need to explain this because it looks like everybody's been here before, but I'll just remind people that this year we're looking at the 12 powers. We're taking a power a month. June's power has been imagination. So we started looking at the role of power in our personal lives. Last week we talked about the role of imagination in our personal lives. Last week we talked about the role of imagination in our relationships, and today we're looking at imagination in our communities and world. And it also was a really happy synchronicity that on this day that I would normally be talking about it, I also have something else to bring to the discussion. And that is the fact that last week I spent in San Antonio, Texas at the National Unity Conference. I will say that I couldn't stop talking about how San Francisco is so nice and temperate, and I didn't know how people got used to that heat in Texas, and I'm sweating up here too, but so it was a little hot back there, but it was a really wonderful experience, and I just want to share how our larger unity movement is looking at this idea of how we can be a force for good, how we can bring all those qualities that fathers in their ideal capacity bring to us. And thinking about imagination, how we can imagine not only a world that works for all, but also take tangible action toward it. So that's why I thought that song was so perfect, because you talk about that, right? Yeah, it's awesome. Because that's what's needed, right? And let me, before I say what I'm about to say, let me just back up. And I'm going to speak the vision statement for Unity Worldwide Ministries, which you maybe will recognize because it also happens to be the vision statement of Unity Spiritual Center of San Francisco. A world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. That's our vision statement, and UWM was actually encouraging member churches to use that as their personal vision statement too, because of our principle, our tool, our teaching, that the more attention we place on something, the greater possibility it has of manifesting in our lives. So the thought is that if all the member churches have the same vision statement, we have a better chance of making that happen. And the mission statement of Unity Worldwide Ministries is advancing the movement of spiritual awakening and transformation through unity, a positive path for spiritual living. So lovely words, nobody can argue with that. Lovely vision, lovely use of imagination. And how do we get there? So we have that vision, how are we going to get there? And that basically was the whole premise of the conference. The whole premise of the conference was about taking tangible action in our lives so that these become more than pretty words and they become instruments of change. And it begins with each one of us. It begins with the choice that each one of us makes to being part of that change, to being a part of that movement. It's not something that just happens. Each one of us needs to make a decision and say, yes, I want to be a part of that. I want to read you a quote that Donna Johnson wrote. She's the president and CEO of Unity Worldwide Ministries. And she said, "It is the choice of each of us whether to seize our divine potential for transformation and claim its manifestation for ourselves, our communities, and our world. And the only positive way to accomplish this
is through principle-based action. You would agree, right? And we're starting to see that in other areas of our country. We're starting to see people feel more inclined to work for the action, work for the change they wish to see in the world. So the first keynote that was given by the Senior Minister of Unity of Washington, D.C., a very powerful minister who's been at it for a quarter of a century, Sylvia Sumter. And some of you may remember her from last November because it was at her church in D.C. that the Day for Healing and Reconciliation took place, which we live streamed here in our sanctuary. So that right there was a very powerful action that she took and that we took for creating a local event around this Day of Healing and Reconciliation. And what she started off by saying is that there are many institutions that are changing, and we don't have to examine that too hard, do we? We're seeing it all around us. Institutions all around us are changing. You know, who now looks at their cell phone for their news? We're not seeing people subscribe to newspapers or magazines because information is digital. The very institution of marriage and family means something very different now than what it did traditionally, and that, of course, is a good thing. We're seeing things change like education. All around us, we are seeing institutions change, and certainly we're noticing that in church. The numbers for attendance at a spiritual center are decreasing across the board. So clearly there's something happening that is calling us to do things differently. When all these kinds of institutions are changing, then we need to roll with it, and we need to be instrumental in its transformation, in how it then manifests in our world. And so what Reverend Sylvia said that I found extremely inspiring was that rather than look at these changes and feel scared by them or feel frustrated by them, we need to feel excited by them by realizing that this is our time, that this is a time that we have been called to, that we are alive in an extremely exciting period of human civilization, and that instead of bemoan the changes, we can actually think, wow, I'm here to be, God bless you, I'm here to be a part of it. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. And that can be tremendously exciting when you think that, perhaps I was born for such a time as this. She specifically said that we in Unity have a sacred opportunity to put forth our teachings, which we know can transform the world. They've transformed our lives, hopefully, or they're in the process of transforming our lives, and they do have the potential and the possibility of transforming the world. So Reverend Sylvia was saying, this is our time to be a light bearer. This is our time to claim that identity for ourselves, that we are light bearers and we are here to bring the message of truth to our time. Can I hear an amen? Amen. The next day, I attended a workshop by Mark Hicks, who is the creator of a website that's wonderful. If you don't know about it, you should write this down or come ask me about it later. The website is truthunity.net, truthunity.net. And what Mark has done is he's gathered all these incredible Unity resources. He's gathered recordings of Eric Butterworth. You can hear what Eric Butterworth sounded like. You can hear what Myrtle Fillmore sounded like. You can get wonderful clips and PDFs and bios on all the people who have been instrumental in our Unity movement. So he is definitely somebody who has done a lot for us. And it was a very complex presentation, so I'm not going to try to distill all of this for you, although I'd be happy to, talk to you individually about it. But one of the things that he said that I found extremely interesting and extremely important was the idea of story. Because the title of his seminar was something along the lines of, the case for unity in a digital age. And he was saying that, as we know, there's so much competing for our attention. There's so much always that is, knocking on our doors saying, let me in terms of, scrolls on the bottom of our news screen, our television screen, or, people forwarding us an article saying, oh, read this. We've got a lot of demands for our time. And so what Mark was saying is that if you're trying to make yourself known, if you're trying to break out of the noise and let people know who you are in this digital age, the most powerful way of doing that is through story. So he had us, actually what he did first is he put up pictures of people in the Unity movement who a lot of us might be familiar with. And he said, what's their story? And it was amazing that pretty much to a person, everybody could say what these people's stories were. So let's play. What's the story of Myrtle Fillmore? Healing. The story of Myrtle Fillmore is healing. And what Mark Hicks said is that your story, each one of our stories can be distilled into one or two words. Now, isn't that an interesting question? So all week I've been thinking about what's my story? And I have thoughts about that. But I want to invite you to also think about that. If you had to distill your story down to one or two words, what would it be? It's an exciting assignment. And also, of course, it can be done for an institution. So help me think about what might be the story of Unity Spiritual Center of San Francisco. What is our story? Because we've got a story too. And if we're not getting a real big hit on what it is, then maybe we need to create that story. Maybe we need to create that story, and we can do that together. There were two other powerful keynotes, one by Father Gregory Boyle. Has anybody heard of him or seen him speak? He works, yeah, you have, Shirley. He's powerful, isn't he? And he works with former gang members in Los Angeles. He's done tremendous work with these young boys, and talk about story. I mean, I've got goosebumps just remembering some of the ones he told. Just heartbreaking stories of where these boys came from and where they are now. Quite amazing. There also was a wonderful keynote by Sharif Abdullah. Has anybody heard Sharif or read his book? He's a wonderful, wonderful resource for all of us. He's been working for diversity training, consciousness for many, many years, and wrote a book called Creating a World That Works for All. And like Reverend Sylvia, Sharif also talked about this idea of us being placed in a time that is exciting and that needs our individual gifts. He said, this is our challenge. What we're looking at, this is our challenge. We have been blessed by it. So that idea that we are blessed by being alive in this time because we actually have a role to play. We can imagine the role that we want to play, and we can play it. And he talked about, the current political situation, which is troubled right now, as we all know, regardless of our political affiliation. And he said, you know what? This is a good time. This is a good time. Yes, it's a challenging time, but this is helping us to get really clear on what it is that we want to work for, what it is that we want our country to be about. So we are lucky. We have been blessed by all the instruments of what we're seeing because they are bringing us to that decision. And that's a blessing. And then he used the metaphor of the caterpillar and the butterfly. And there are 4 stages. There's the egg. There's the caterpillar, which is pretty much unconscious and, consuming everything in its path. There's the chrysalis. And there's the butterfly, that beautiful butterfly that has transformed. And he said, right now we're in a chrysalis stage. We've kind of worked through this age mass consumption, mindlessly consuming. And now we're kind of looking around and thinking, wow, we can't keep going like that. So now he said we are in our chrysalis stage. And this is the stage of the imaginal selves. This is the stage where anything's possible. We don't quite know what's going to emerge. We don't quite know yet what transformation is going to look like. But he said we are all in our chrysalises now. And something beautiful can develop from that. So we need to use our God-given faculty of imagination to imagine the kind of world that we want to live in, and to imagine what kind of role that we individually want to play. Because make no mistake, it's going to depend on all of us making that decision to be a part, to be an instrument of that transformation. I also attended 2 other workshops which were about how a ministry is changing in a big way. One was actually called Sea Change in Ministry. Yes, we all know that's true. And the other one was similar. It was called Unique Expressions of Ministry. And it was focused on alternative outreach programs for those ministries who maybe will never see one of those people walk in the door, but have a role to play in their community. So very exciting ideas that I heard about, that I was thinking about, talking about, and little by little I will be sharing more of that material with you. And I just want to also reiterate something that I hope you already know, and that is that ideas and suggestions for who we can be as a community, for what we can do as a community, are always welcome. In addition to reconnecting with colleagues who I've met, some of whom I meet with regularly, I also had the opportunity to have lunch with the new CEO of Unity World Headquarters. He's a young guy named Jim Blake. I say young, I mean, I don't know how old he is, but he seemed young to me. Somebody called him, he's like the Rock. He's like this really big guy, and he has that physical energy like the Rock. And you just kind of feel like, okay, this is a mover and shaker. He's going to get things done. And it was really fun to have lunch with him and to hear ideas that he's got for how to take our unity message into the world. He's extremely technologically savvy. He's really got his fingers on that pulse. And so I left feeling like, okay, well, we're in good hands. We've got some good people at the helm of our 2 unity organizations who really are both underscoring this message of we've got options for transformation, but we need to take action, and we individually need to do our part. So as the outgoing chairman of Unity Worldwide Ministries said, Reverend Karen Tudor, these are amazing, volatile times in which we live. We are each called to live our truth out loud in ways our hearts direct us to live. So I walked away feeling like I want to use my imagination for how I can be a part of that, both in my personal life and in our community life. And I invite you to do the same thing. Let us individually think about what are our stories? What is the story? What do we stand for? What is it that we want to be remembered for? Let us imagine how we can use that toward this great awakening that we all find ourselves in. Let us imagine how we can envision the highest and best for our spiritual center, for our community, for our nation, for our world. And let us each resolve to take tangible action. Tangible action. Whatever feels like it's most in alignment with your gifts and talents. But we are being called to each be a light bearer and to bring these truths to the world. So may we step into that. May we each be butterflies. And so it is. Thank you, God. So as John turns down the lights, I'm going to take you through a guided meditation. And let's just begin by remembering who we are, by singing our meditation song, Holy, Holy, Holy. Did you get the words to that? Yeah. So we'll start with We Are Holy. We'll move into You Are Holy. And we'll finish with I Am Holy before going into our meditation.
We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy.
So as we relax more deeply into our seats, just allow yourself to get comfortable, just to close your eyes, to take a few slow, deep breaths, and begin to relax. And as you breathe, just feel your attention moving deeper and deeper within, deeper and deeper inside yourself. And now that you're in a relaxed position, I invite you to imagine yourself in a place where you feel completely safe, completely restful, completely at peace. And as you imagine yourself becoming so comfortable in that peaceful, safe place, I invite you to think of a father figure in your life, someone who represents strength, kindness, and wisdom to you. This might be your own father, the man who raised you, or it might be another person, such as a teacher or a mentor, who saw the best in you, like a father would have, who believed in you and supported you. And just feel your gratitude for all he did for you, for the ways in which he supported you, for the many things that he taught you, for the ways in which he encouraged you to be your best. Just hold him in your heart, whether that person is alive or on another plane, and give him love. And know that the expression of the Divine Father principle is in you, whether you are male or female. It is a part of your connection with the divine. And so now remember the ways in which you felt acknowledged, seen, and supported. And extend those feelings out to others right now. Just send those warm feelings of belonging out to others. And as you rest in this wonderful, warm feeling of love and appreciation and support, and send that same feeling out to all those around you, listen again to the words of the poem that we began with this morning, and reflect on how you yourself embody those qualities. The strength of a mountain, the majesty of a tree, the warmth of a summer sun, the calm of a quiet sea, the generous soul of nature, the comforting arm of night, the wisdom of the ages, the power of the eagle's flight, the joy of a morning in spring, the faith of a mustard seed, the patience of eternity, the depth of a family need. And imagine how you can combine those qualities. And when there's nothing more to add, how you can be a masterpiece. Whether you are called Dad or not. So taking a few moments to really anchor that feeling of being enfolded in the love, support, and wisdom of Father love. And knowing that Father and Mother God, God the Good, has always been with you, will always be with you, and is with and in you right now. And knowing too that you can bring these qualities to another, that you can bring this love, support, strength, and wisdom to our world, whether you're male or female, that you too can bring comfort, joy, calm, and generosity to everyone who crosses your path. that you can always return to this incredible feeling, this feeling of safety, of peace, and love at any time you choose. Begin now to leave your inner sanctuary and return to our outer sanctuary, gently bringing your awareness back to this place and this time, perhaps moving your fingers or your feet. And when you're ready, coming back to waking consciousness and opening your eyes. Unity offers positive, practical, progressive spiritual teachings and tools that honor the universal truth in all religions and respects each individual's right to choose a spiritual path. And here at Unity Spiritual Center, we too have an inspiring vision, an exciting mission, and compelling values by which we strive to live. And I invite you to please join with me in saying them aloud. Our vision is centered in God. We co-create a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. And now you know that that is also the vision statement of Unity Worldwide Ministries. Our mission is, we are a creative, joy-filled spiritual community dedicated to healing, inspiring, and transforming the lives of all people through prayer, education, and love. And our values are, we are spirit-led, generous with resources, inclusive, joyously creative, and guided by integrity. And in this space, feeling inspired by our vision, mission, and values, hopefully being inspired by what's happening on the national and international level of unity. Feeling enriched by what we've experienced here today and what we will experience later in our Fillmore room. Let us take time now to be a channel for enrichment through our generous tithes and love offerings. Practicing the principle of tithing ourselves as a spiritual community, we are pleased to tithe 10% of the offering collected today to Unity Worldwide Spiritual Institute, which is the new seminary for Unity. So let us take a moment now to bless our tithes and love offerings, placing them in our hands or perhaps next to our heart as we say our offertory prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
What do I tell myself through the day? What are the visions that follow me? What kind of fantasies come my way? Are they serving who I want to be? Am I boxed in and feeling small, afraid to move 'cause I cannot see what is stopping me from standing tall? Where is all my possibility? Am I ready? Am I ready? Imagination, please set me free. Imagination, run wild in me. Imagination, treat me right. Help me, won't you lead me right up to the light? Oh, oh, Well, can you take me to the rainbows? Can you bring me tasty, sweet delights? Can you carry me to joy from woes? If I can only stop the fight, are you ready? I say, are you ready? Imagination, please set me free. Imagination, run wild in me. Imagination, treat me right. Help me, won't you lead me right up to the light? Am I ready for the ride? Am I ready to leave? Tell my stories goodbye. I think I finally believe. Yes, I believe. Oh, yeah, yeah. And I know deep in my soul, if I can only take the time to breathe, what I'm seeking in my life is always seeking me. Am I ready? Oh, yes, I'm ready. Imagination, please set me free. Imagination, run wild in me. Imagination, treat me right. Help me, won't you lead me right up to the light? Imagination, please set me free. Imagination, run wild in me. Imagination, treat me right. Help me, won't you lead me right up to the light? Help me, won't you lead me right up to the light? Sing that. Won't you lead me right up to the... They got this. One more time. Help me, won't you lead me right up to the light? Help me, won't you lead me right up to the light. Yeah, nice singing.
To have Sue and Anna with us today. Thank you so much for blessing us with your beautiful music. And I turn the microphone on again because we do this offertory prayer every single week, but I don't want it to seem rote because the words are pretty powerful if you really take them in. So let's take them in and let's decide what it is that we ourselves can do to join this great awakening and contribute to the transformation of our world. Please join with me. Dear God, we give thanks for the many blessings that are in our church this very moment. We open ourselves to the infinite possibilities that are ours to choose. We are filled with a mighty faith that empowers and frees us to live our divine purpose and serve our community with excellence. And so it is. Amen. Then I want to thank all of those who are giving service today, including our impromptu volunteer, Marcy Guzman and Sean Antoni, for being our ushers, our greeter, Silvana Lopez, Candy Corbett and Rosa Bundy, who have created some of those, what did you say, those tasty delights, sweet delights that are going to be in the Fillmore room. I know that Karina's going to come in with the kids in a second. I'm feeling really inspired to say that everyone can serve in this church. Everyone can. And often we notice that it's the same people who are giving service. But I want you to know that there is something that everybody can do, such as make sure that there's a full candle up there on a Sunday morning. Did you see how long that took me? That took me maybe 1 minute at the most. That's something somebody can volunteer to do. I've got 2 bags full of tablecloths in the kitchen. Now, I personally took them home and washed them, okay? But the minister is drawing the line at ironing them, all right? I refuse to iron them. I know that there is somebody here who could take home one of those bags and iron the tablecloths. We've got another bag that has 2 tablecloths that had wine stains spilled on them when we had a memorial service last week. So 2 of them need to be washed. Something like that is always calling to be done around this community. And if you want to know, who you are, what story you bring to our world, it starts that simply. It starts with just raising your hand, and you don't have to do it now, but you could catch me after the service, with just raising your hand and saying, I'll do that. I'll be responsible for that. It's by taking those small steps that were led to the bigger ones. It's a small thing to do. So I really hope that you've started thinking about what it is that you can contribute to our community, to our city, to our nation, and to our world, because this world needs each one of you. Each one of you has a beautiful story to help us transform. So I hope that you will bring that forward. Ethel.
I want to be an example and say that I will take a few tablecloths and have the wine.
Thank you so much, Ethel. Thank you so much. And that's how it works. Mary Ellen, thank you so much. All right. So let's give them a big hand for modeling for you how easy and simple it can be. And that's what we're trying to become, right? We're trying to become a community where each person feels ownership, where each person has a part to play. There are many, many parts to play. So we'll be hearing more and more about this as we progress into the year. But I just want to thank you all for being here. I want to let you know that we're going to be starting a new book study class this Tuesday night. It's based on Ellen Davenport's book, The 5 Principles. It's only going to be a 5-week class because we're going to skip Tuesday, July 4th. So if you're feeling kind of inspired, you're wanting to know more about the Unity movement and what part you could play in it, please do join me Tuesday night for the next 5 nights through the 24th, I think, of July from 6:30 to 8:30 to study the 5 principles. We also have another wonderful creative salon coming up. It's going to be next Saturday. Again, we're studying the power of imagination. So how much fun. We're going to have 2 Bay Area artists come in and help us to explore imagination creatively. That's Saturday, June 24th. And then at the end of the month, we're going to have a Reiki 1 class offered by our Reiki master, Cheryl Hodgins. That starts on the 29th, is that right? And goes through July 1st, and we're so excited about that. So please do consider coming to one or all of those activities. And yeah.
So if we're going to do the book study,
Right.
buy the book today and
No, you don't have to. Usually because people decide at the last minute to come, which is fine. You're always welcome to do that. I kind of do a catch-up class for the first one, and then from that point on, we have assignments. So, yeah, but we'll cover the first principle in class on this Tuesday. All right, so let's bring in our wonderful kids, the real future of Unity.
Let it shine, Christmas.